Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lendingkart Leadership Podcast.
In this series, you get to hear our esteemed leaders answer some very serious and some not so serious questions.
Tune in for some candid conversations.
Today, in another exciting episode, we talk to our Chief Business Officer of Platforms, Sandeep Sonpatki. Hi, Sandeep. Welcome to the podcast. We are very excited for you to join us.
Thank you, Kenny, and I'm also excited. Good evening to you and everyone who will be listening to this.
Good evening to you too. I'd like to begin by understanding your role at Lendingkart. So just if you would help our listeners understand what does
hmm
the CBO platforms, do?
Sure. So what I'll do is I'll also talk about what platforms really is all about, right? So Lending Card, as we all know, has been the pioneer of digital lending, right? Really started 7, 8 years back, and the entire growth that Lending Card has had was using technology as the backbone. Where we are sourcing customers using digital means. We are onboarding customers through the use of technology. We are underwriting it. We are disbursing, and then we are doing collection. All of this is done purely on the back of technology. We don't have a physical branch. So what really platforms business is taking this next leap, right? Using the same technology platform that we built, and now monetizing this platform.
Right.
Now, as an example, today we offer our customers just unsecured business loans, right?
Correct.
Now, what platforms really is going to do is that leveraging all these assets that we have built
Hmm.
around sourcing, around underwriting, around disbursal collections,
Right.
and making sure our customers today are not just getting a single product,
Right.
but also meeting their overall financing needs.
Hmm.
So if it's not a business loans, it could be a gold loan, for instance. It could be a home loan, for instance,
Right.
because our customer today has multiple financial needs. And
Absolutely.
and that's what this platform business is really trying to do, is that how can we keep the customer in focus
Hmm.
and make sure that we are able to serve all their lending financing needs uh, through the use of our platforms.
Right.
So that's what really our platform business is all about, and that's what I am, along with our team, trying to build this platform and scale it up so that we can help meet the overarching views of overarching vision of lending card, right? To
Hmm.
meet and simplify finance for our customers.
Great. And you have mentioned very briefly about the products. Would you like to tell us a bit more in details about these platforms, the products that you're building, and how you really see them, changing the landscape, like you mentioned?
Sure. So there are four platforms that we have really built
Hmm.
using our existing business, right? So first, and I will cover all the four.
Sure.
So first one that we are naming or calling it as Accelerate, right? And really the idea of this platform is that how can we help accelerate for our business partners? And when I say business partners, I'm referring to banks and other financial institutions and NBFCs, etc.
Hmm.
How do we help them accelerate their distribution? So how do we help them really source customers across the country? And today we have, as Lending Card, we have built a pan-India distribution network, right?
Right.
We cover more than 11,000 pin codes. We have a strong DSN network of 4 to 5,000 agents who are able to connect with customers. We have online channel partners, more than 120 plus. So all of that distribution capability that we are leveraging that capability now to also source customers for a variety of different products. As I said, gold loans or personal loans or credit cards or even home loan lab. And what that really helps us is in two ways. One, our customers today who we are able to reach for business loans, we are able to cater to their broader needs, as I said in my previous answer, right? We're able to give them all these products. At the same time, it is also helping our co-lending partners. Today, we have those 15 plus banks, NBFCs for whom we are doing co-lending.
Right.
They are also present in other products, and they have been reaching out to us to say that, okay, while you've been doing great on the business loans, how about you help us distribute other products that we have on our books? So that's what really Accelerate is all about. That uh, we help both sides of the party. We help our customers as well as we help our lending partners to get into new markets, new geographies where they don't have their own presence today. Help them launch new products in a quick way because we have the distribution reach and we can reach multiple markets for them. We can drive a lot of campaigns for them, and we do all of that using tech as the backbone, so that we are able to connect the right borrowers with the right lenders, right, and help improve the overall efficiency in the system today. So that's what Accelerate is all about. The second platform we have is what we are calling as a credit.
Hmm.
Right now, what credit really does is our underwriting platform. Right, it's machine learning based, uses alternate data for underwriting, and primarily targeted for unsecured business loans. Now, this product is really targeted towards banks and financial institutions, right, who are new to digital lending, and today their underwriting models, existing models, may be more based on the traditional way, right, where you take income proofs, you take a lot of documentation. You don't even probably have an unsecured business today.
Right.
They still have a secured ways of business, right? And many times they are missing out on this opportunity for unsecured business loans. So what this offering we are enabling these lenders is that they can use our underwriting model, our underwriting algorithm,
Hmm.
uh, and basis that determine whether a customer is worthy enough to be lent, right? And our model also tells us that what is the amount that you can lend, what is the interest rate that you should offer, and what is the risk category of the borrower. And then we classify them as category A, B, C, onwards, right? And which also tells what is the probability of default. So that's something that is clearly unmatched in the marketplace today, and our model has evolved over the last 8 years, and really much more robust now in predicting the risk profile and the amount to be lent. So that's what credit does. The third product that we have is Collect 10. And really what Collect 10 by the name of it is helping have a helping lenders with pan India collections, right? And here what we bring to the table are three core capabilities. One is a comprehensive collections communications platform. So be it about sending SMSs or email reminders to our customers even before their due dates, to once customer miss their payments, then sending payment links to them, having WhatsApp bots and voice bots to connect with multiple customers or thousands and thousands of customers at this one go without having a large set of telecallers with us. So that's one key pillar of us, which again has multilingual support. So if the customer is not English speaking or Hindi speaking, being able to support them in their local languages, so it becomes easier for them to also understand and enable missed payments from their side. We also have the second key capability is the entire analytics that goes into it, right? And what we call as the intelligence capability, where we are able to source multiple addresses of customers, what we in the industry call as skip tracing, right? Sometimes what happens is businesses change their address, and then lenders are not able to connect with those borrowers. So we are able to look at multiple addresses from their GST returns, from their bills, bureau pulls, etc., and are able to find the right address where our agents can reach out to them, right? And that's something that a lot of lenders today don't have that capability. We also are able to predict bounces to say that which customers are more likely to bounce and which customers are less likely to bounce. And even after bouncing, which customers will not require any nudge to pay versus which customers may need more nudges. So that helps you bring efficiency into your collection. So that's something that we have perfected over the last few years. We also have an on-field presence of agents. We have 1,500 plus agents which cover all the states and geographies in the country, which are all geotag enabled. So it helps you centrally monitor which agents are going and meeting what customers and what is their success rate, and what kind of collections and payments are your field agents able to do. So all of those things are being brought onto a single platform, which we are offering to our customers. When I say customers here, I'm referring to banks and financial institutions who are lenders and who want that collections capability. So that's the third product that we have. And lastly, we have the Together platform, which we're calling as the lenders marketplace, which essentially is a marketplace which connects small NBFCs on one side, which are originators, and really fintech players who are coming up with newer and newer innovative lending solutions. And the other side, we have large lenders and banks who are really co-lenders who have access to capital, and and then the lenders marketplace enables them to have co-lending relationships or partnerships between originators and lenders. And essentially what the platform provides is, one, for the originators, it provides access to capital from large lenders, and for large lenders who traditionally get bogged down by their slowness of their tech teams, right? And they're not able to integrate with multiple fintechs. So what we do is, with the platform readily integrated, we give them originators uh, on a platter so that they can partner with multiple fintechs and try out new business models. So that's what the Together platform does. Sorry, these are the four platforms essentially that we focus on as part of the platform business.
Well, that's super, super interesting stuff. And I like how they're so appropriately named. It's easy to remember the product and therefore what it does. It's really great. So, I mean, everybody has favorites. So, do you have any favorites of these four, or is there like a popular one with the partners?
Yeah. So I can't really say favorite because all four are dear to me, and something that and I really like the names, right? As you also mentioned, that the names have been also been appropriately designed, and they were named before I joined. So even I am fascinated by how the teams come up with these names. Uh, so I think in terms of when I've gone into the market and spoken to business partners, etc., I think Accelerate one, which is for helping them with distribution of financial products. I think that has been easiest to communicate as a value or what product we have. And something that appeals also very easily to lenders. So that's been the easiest to demonstrate value from a market perspective. So that's been my go-to product when I go and talk to lenders. Uh, Lately, Collecten has emerged more like a dark horse, right? Because when I've gone and spoken to banks and financial institutions, what I've realized is that there has been so little investment that lenders have done on the collection side, right? A lot of players have invested heavily on sourcing customers, on underwriting, and doing a lot of things. But fortunately or unfortunately, collections, I think, has been represented or under invested, I would say. Right? And there is no credible solution also available which has all the capabilities that we talked about. So either some solutions focus only on the communications part, or some solutions focus, or some players focus only on the field part. But there are very few solutions which will bring all these three things together: the communications part, the analytics part, and the field part.
Right.
So I would say Collecten is my current favorite.
Interesting. So it's really great. It's really great to have you at Lendingkart, and it's great to see you build such amazing platforms and work on them. I just like to go back a little, and before you joined Lendingkart, you were with Deloitte for a very long time. So what made you decide to switch from like a consulting sort of a profile to this at Lendingkart?
Sure. Yeah, so I spent actually a very, very long time with Deloitte before I joined Lendingkart. And in Deloitte, I was working or advising clients in the financial services industry. So I was working with banks, NBFC, payment companies. In fact, I had also set up a number of financial institutions there. Be it was associated with Bandhan Bank set up back in 2014-15, and then helped set up India Post as well. So done a lot of bank setups, and I had actually also seen the entire evolution of fintech in India, right? Started with payments and then moved to lending. And then it's always been an interesting and a fascinating space, right? And I was always being involved in that sense as part of my job at Deloitte. And then my wife also has been in the fintech space. So she was with the bureau, and then she's now with another fintech, right? So it's always been something that I've been living and breathing all along. And then when this opportunity came about with Lendingkart, where it was about setting up a new fintech business, platforms business, so I felt it was made for me, right? So I bring in setup experience. Of course, I don't have direct industry experience of lending, but I thought this would be a great opportunity for me also to learn as well as contribute from my experience. So that's how it all came about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think with your wife also being in the fintech space, you must have so much to talk about. Like, it's fantastic. Okay, so this is about Deloitte, and let me take you back a little further. And if I were to ask you, tell us about your journey right from the start, like the moment you started working. What is that like?
Yeah, so that's been distant past, right? So in fact, I did my engineering back in 99. And back then, I would say the only jobs that were available were in software, apart from one or two core jobs. So I joined Infosys right after my engineering. Worked there for 2 years, and then, like everyone else did back then, went and did my MBA. And then I graduated from Calcutta in 2003, and I joined a startup in back then, right? And really my startup experience really probably started, or the Kira started then. So, in fact, uh, Ram Deshpande, right, who's our current marketing head, he and I were in the same company. So it was always good to connect back with Ram after so many years. I worked there for 6 months and then entered consulting across another company called TSMG, and then went to Deloitte. So about spent 19, 20 years in consulting,
Wow.
and then finally came back to startup here. Although I can't call Lendingkart a startup anymore, it's a fairly mid-sized, mature organization.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Okay, so um, I want to ask you that, like, because you've been, doing this for so long now, right? So, and as a business officer now, what is the most important skill that you feel like a CBO business, like a CBO, I'm sorry, platform should have? Or, what is the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to work as a chief business officer, platforms at Lending Card or anywhere for that matter?
Sure, sure. Yeah, so I think obviously as a chief business officer, you have to be business focused, right? But I think the underlying point I would say has to be more focused from a tech perspective, right? And that's a conversation I have with Manish and Harsh also, right?
Hmm.
As part of platforms, we have to really focus on how do we monetize the tech assets that we have built across Accelerate, Together, Collect, and credit, right? So essentially more about making, understanding the core capability of each of these solutions. How do these solutions address the business problems today, and how do they address the pain areas of the ecosystem? And then being able to position these tech assets to external stakeholders in the right way so that they see value in it. And then how do we drive exceptional customer experience?
Right.
So that's, I think, all those are very important skills, I think, as CBO or even part of the platform team, right? All of us in the team also, and that's the drive that I keep on doing with the team, and when Manish and Harsh also speak with me, is that
Hmm.
how do we keep that as a center of focus, right? How do we
Right.
use these tech assets and how do we monetize them? How do we solve industry problems, right? And above
Right.
all, of course, how do we price them also in the market in the right
Right.
way?
Hmm.
So that we are driving the overall objective of delivering finance to all our customers.
Yeah, I think well said. And like you mentioned that we've seen the tech evolved, and we also understand tech is evolving constantly. So how does your role sort of change with the changing tech and the changing times?
Mhm. So here also, I think, as with all technology solutions, right, we also have to constantly evolve and keep on thinking about problems down the line, right? What kind of problems will emerge in 1 or 2 years or 12 or 18 months or 24 months down the line, that we have to make sure that our tech solutions are addressing those problems,
Right.
right? And do it in a way that is light on people, light on operations, and uses more of automated technologies or uh, the latest tools, etc. So that's what uh, I think the focus has been, and what I constantly try to do with the team. That make sure we are keeping track of industry trends. We are seeing what problems, talking to the industry players, understanding what problems they face are likely to face. And that's where I think Collect 10 as a solution, and I probably am coming back to Collect 10 because it's my current favorite. That I believe, I think the team, our product and technology and the collections team, right, at Lendingkart, I think we've come up with a product with a very, very solid proposition, which will solve, which today is not getting addressed adequately by players in the marketplace.
Yes. Are you active on social media? Let me ask you that. Do you get any sort of dope on social media on the changing trends?
So not so active. So obviously I have my LinkedIn account. I have Facebook account. I have a Twitter account, but and my Twitter account I think has been active for more than 10 years now.
Wow.
Uh, but I have always used my Twitter account so far more as a consumer and for complaints with various service providers, be it with my mobile company or be it with my Netflix account or other things. So it's been primarily used for customer complaints than anything else. But
Good.
yes, LinkedIn I have. I do use it often, but it's more to
Yeah.
uh, postings that have been there. I think I should start posting it myself as well more often about what we do at Lendingkart.
We should start with this podcast. No,
Yes, we
because
should
social
absolutely.
media has generally become a source of good information as well. Sometimes you just really get up to date with whatever's happening out there. Okay, great. So my next question is, and it's a very interesting one. If you could go back, sorry, if you could go back 20 years in time, right? What would you tell yourself about leadership that you didn't know back then?
Yeah, and 20 years I think is a apt time, right? Because I started my career about 20 years back. So that's the time I was probably just fresh out of my B school.
Right.
Uh, And yeah, so I think a lot of things that I've realized now, which obviously I knew then as well, but never realized how true they were, right? And very often people would have heard this quotes, right? That success or genius is just 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Right.
Uh, as and back then I never realized what it really means, that 99% perspiration means how much of effort you need to put into, how much of perseverance you need to have, not be impatient if you don't get success immediately, keep on trying hard. And when I look at all the successful entrepreneurs that India has developed over the last few years, right, and I've taken uh, all the unicorns that have been built, you rarely get to see or realize that how much of hard work and perspiration these guys would have put in before they became successful and before they became what they are. Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I would advise myself, that don't lose heart, don't lose focus. Just make sure that you are at it, right? And it reminds me of and I like this movie quite a bit, right? Three Idiots,
Yeah.
where we have Rancho make that famous quote, right? That you don't go after success so much, you focus on excellence, and success will automatically follow.
Correct.
I think that is what I think it's key, that all of us and all the younger generation that is starting off, that just be focused on what you think is uh, the right way, and focus on hard work, etc. And success will automatically come to you.
Yeah, I think that's very nicely put. And like we all know now that you've been working for more than 20 years, would you describe to us your proudest achievement? What your mantra for success?
Mhm. Uh, yeah, so obviously, my journey with Lending Card has been a short while here.
Right.
So hopefully, probably in the next season of podcast, I can talk about an achievement that I've had here. My current favorite, I would say, would be in my earlier organization, right? Which was when I was involved on this long project with the government of India for setting up this payments bank, which I mentioned earlier as well. It was a long project; it was almost 3 years, and I came across some really fascinating people from the government, right, who were highly motivated, wanted to make an impact and things. We also had the government trying to say that, okay, while we are setting up the bank, the single-minded focus should be on financial inclusion, where we are delivering banking to the unbanked, providing financial access to them. But at the same time, the requirements were that you have to also build a sustainable organization. Don't go about hiring a lot of people. Leverage what we already have as part of the postal department. So leverage the postmen that we have. Uh, Leverage all the post offices we have. So I don't know if you know, Kini, but India Post has 150,000 post offices, right? And 90% of those post offices are actually rural areas.
Wow.
And just as a comparison, if you take all the banks in the country today and count all the branches that they have in rural areas, all the 40, 50 banks that we have, be it the state banks and all the public sector banks and private sector banks, we put all of them together, they would probably have just around 40, 45,000 branches in rural India. Whereas India Post just on itself is twice or thrice that number in rural areas. So that's the reach we're talking about, right? And that's the impact that the government wanted to do. But at the same time, obviously, being a government organization, there was a certain procedure we had to follow before we could take any steps. So there were a lot of delays also because of that. I remember when we were doing a process for procuring of technology for them, the entire process got delayed by a year.
Oh my God.
So there were a lot of frustrating moments. There were a lot of motivating events. We were involved in helping them do the hiring of leadership, management, designing the operating model, trying to see how do we leverage what existing infrastructure we have. And also from day one, the vision of the management and government was that how can we make it digitally enabled, right? Completely paperless process. So be it account opening for customers, be it transactions, etc. No paper being used. So that also required to bring a mindset issue where the organization typically was everything moved based on paper and signatures. So quitting away from all of that. So it was a very, very difficult and challenging engagement. And finally, after 2 years, when we launched the bank, the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi himself had come for the inauguration. So actually seeing him in person inaugurating the postal bank, the payments bank, and kickstarting it. And then within, I think, a year and a half, we also had COVID. Right, and then that's when I came across a news article recently which talked about how during COVID, when the entire nation was under lockdown, and the government wanted to reach out to deeper rural areas with financial and relief measures. Actually, it was the postman who deliver all the direct benefits transfer. Right, about some 2-3,000 crores was delivered in a matter of couple of months via the postal network and the postal channel. So that's where then you kind of feel proud that you had some limited contribution in that somewhere.
No, that's really very impressive to hear. Wow. Okay. So we've spoken a lot about your professional journey. Moving on slightly to a more personal one. We know that as a CBO, you're very, very busy. So, and thank you so much for giving us time today. So I want to ask you, how do you unwind after a busy day or after a normal day at work?
So I think normal days you rarely get time, right, with family. So and that's not a good thing in a way. So early mornings, obviously, it's more to make sure I get my daughter ready for school. Which also last 1 week, I think I've been passing it on to my wife because I was traveling. But usually mornings is where I try and get her ready. And then I've started coming to office now more regularly. So, and even otherwise also, honestly, my wife or my in-laws used to take care of my daughter after she's back from her school. So making sure her homework is done, the regular studies, etc., or taking her to some of the classes. All of that I've outsourced
To other members.
to other members of the family. And then usually after work, then it's more about just catching up on current news, etc. So lately, before I go to sleep, I do listen to some of the YouTube videos which talk about geo. So again, just to take my mind away from work. Some talks about what current affairs are, what's happening on the geopolitical scene, etc. So that's something that I usually end up listening to before I go to bed. On weekends is where then I do get time to spend more with my family. So usually on Saturday and Sunday mornings, it's almost now become a ritual that we'll go for so I have a 9-year-old daughter. So go for a swim with her and then have a very relaxed breakfast by the poolside. Now, obviously, it's winter. Now, one can argue that Bombay doesn't have winter, but
Yeah, exactly.
still
I was
the
about to say.
yeah. So if it's not swimming, then probably badminton or something. So
Yeah.
that's where I then get some family time during the weekends.
Wow. Are you into sports otherwise? I mean, did you play as a child or like in college or something?
Not so much. I mean, I do enjoy, but unfortunately or fortunately, I never got into any team. Neither my school team nor the district team, nowhere, neither cricket nor. So lately, I've started playing badminton.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more like a leisure activity than a serious activity for me.
Okay. On that leisure activity note, if you were to take, let's say, 6 months off, right? What would you spend your time doing?
Hmm. Yeah, so if I get 6 months off, I think one of the things that definitely I would do is travel, right? So my wife and I travel quite a bit.
Hmm.
So we domestically we do end up doing road trips
Hmm.
to nearby places or even otherwise just go there. We got quite a bit in India as well, and then we've also been going abroad as well. So in fact, in the last 14 years of our marriage, we used to make at least one international trip every year, apart from the 2 years that we missed out on COVID.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, so definitely would travel. I mean, there are still a lot of places that we haven't been to yet. So Africa is something that is definitely on my list to do. Going on a safari there. Uh, East Europe is another region that I haven't done. My wife has been to a few East European countries, and then in fact, interestingly, we did South America. So when I was working in the US for a couple of years, and then from there we sneaked a short holiday, and actually I did an Inca trail. It's a 4-day trail that you do, and you uh, follow the path. So it's I mean obviously it's not very challenging, but given my physical activity, I thought it was a significant achievement that we did without breaking down. Uh, so yeah, so that's what I'll do. Sorry.
I'm very keen to know more about this trail.
It's actually good in the sense that we had signed up with a bunch of other people.
Any place in India that you get to discover or go to?
Yeah, so in India also, obviously work has taken me to a few places. Uh, so I've been to Northeast as part of work. So there's one project that I did where I was spending I mean, it was only about 10 odd days I spent there, but couple of days in Nagaland, couple of days in Arunachal, couple of days in uh, Assam, but never really got to see around. So I think that's something on my bucket list to cover Northeast. I haven't been to Kashmir as well, so that's another thing that I need to do. Uh, I think that apart, probably one or two other states. I think I've done pretty much rest of the country. So
Great.
yeah,
So
those are
six
things that I've.
Yeah, your 6 months are packed with travel and you enjoy it completely.
Yes.
Awesome. This is again a very interesting one for you. What is the best part about Bombay? Like if you were to, okay, actually it's a two-part question. So first question, what is the best part about Bombay? And then ask you the second one later.
Yeah, so I've been a Mumbaikar all through my life, right? Born and brought up here. Uh, Apart from, I think, barring a couple of years when I was in Pune with my first job, and then 2 years in Calcutta for my MBA, and 2 years in the US. I think apart from these 6 odd years, pretty much rest of my life has been in Bombay. So I understand a lot of people who are outside from Bombay do find it challenging, but I actually like the chaos here. It's I would say it's organized chaos, right? I mean, the city is always on the move. There are a lot of, despite all the things that are not right, right? I mean, you have potholes everywhere. You will have traffic jams. You will have honking on the roads, crowded public transport, illegal construction everywhere. But despite all of that, I think I
I'm
still
hurt.
I love being here. I like the pace of the city.
Interesting. And I've heard that in Bombay you just see like celebs at every like next red light junction. Is that true? Is it a myth?
So there are spots where you can, I
Yeah.
believe. So if you go to, let's say, Bandra West or Lokhandwala in Andheri, etc., there I think it's known for celeb spotting.
Mm.
Uh, I may have seen a couple of celebs at the airport, maybe, but never really gone out. And on a few occasions now, I believe there are a lot of celebs because of OTT platforms and
Yeah.
television that probably you may not even recognize some of them may be celebs because you may not be following a particular series or a particular
Yeah.
uh, season, right? So yeah, I mean one can spot a lot of celebs in Bombay. I think.
Interesting. Interesting. And now my part two. If you were to shift, right, to any of the other lending card offices, which office would you move to? Ahmedabad or Bangalore, and why?
Okay, okay. So you haven't included Delhi and Hyderabad. Huh?
Yeah, and you can include Gurgaon because the collection team sits out of yours and collecting is your favorite. But I'll give you, yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I'll give you Gurgaon also. Or
yeah.
Hyderabad. Let's take all four.
Okay. Yeah, so Gurgaon, I've Delhi, Gurgaon, I've been for 3 years, so I will put that out of the list right now. Amongst the places I haven't spent a lot of time, right? So Bangalore also I haven't spent a lot of time, and neither have Ahmedabad or Hyderabad. Uh, I think Bangalore would be similar, more or less, with respect to Mumbai, right? In terms of being a cosmopolitan city.
Yeah.
Traffic jams also are equally bad there. I mean, I always, whenever I go to Bangalore, it just drains me when it's a commute from the airport to the city. So to that extent, I think it's more or less the same. Of course, Bangalore has the weather part.
Yeah.
Uh, is there? But I think amongst the other options, I think Ahmedabad stands out. Of course, Hyderabad I haven't been to much, so I may not be able to give a good way. Ahmedabad I've been a few times now because of Lendingkart, and what I really like about Ahmedabad is it's much more cleaner than Mumbai. It's much more organized, much more cleaner roads, lesser traffic. So, so
Ahmedabad.
yeah, I think Ahmedabad probably could be.
Great. And my last question for you is, uh, what would your biography be called?
Ah, that's a tough one. So I think if I had to write a biography or if, I have to give a title to a biography of mine, uh, I would say, and again, it's more about what my wife keeps on telling me all the time that these are the things I don't do, right?
Mm.
As I said earlier, right, I don't read a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and then also I also don't listen to a lot of music. In fact, a lot of so when I was in Calcutta, in the hostel rooms, a lot of my colleagues would always come and whenever they would come to my room, they would always surprise that how come you don't have any music playing? Because usually if you walk into anyone's room in the hostels, there will be something that will keep on blaring. In fact, on my computer, I didn't even have, in those days, we used to have this application called Winamp. I don't know if that.
Yeah, we have skins and all. Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, I did not even have that installed on my machine till my second year. Somebody came and then installed it. I said, fine, I can. So I'm that bad when it comes to music and reading. And of course, exercise also is something that my wife keeps on complaining. So I think the title of my book would be things that I never did, right? Which is reading, music, and exercise.
That's an interesting one. Any other titles you have in mind?
Mm, I think the other things probably could be the hobbies that I always wanted to pursue, right? Which is, I would put sports there.
Hmm.
Again, note that I'm calling it more like a hobby than a
Okay.
profession. And then maybe travel.
Interesting. You can also call your book Around the World in 180 Days. You know, the 6 months you're going to take out to travel.
Yeah, that's actually a good title.
Great. I think it was great talking to you, Sandeep. Thank you so much for taking our time for this podcast. We're really, really glad to have you.
Thanks, Kini, so much, and thanks for having me here.
Thank
Lovely
you.
talking with you.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit like and share. मिलते हैं अगली बार with some real insights on leadership and the industry, only on Lessons with the Leaders.